Hi, good afternoon. Today I would like to talk about the real life incidents related to a certain pirate gang in the Caribbean in the 18th century. Firstly, even before the 18th century, in the 17th century, pirates were quite welcome in the islands between North America and South America, the Caribbean, because they had these stolen goods which they would sell at bargain prices. But come, eight, but come the 18th century, the pilot gangs in the Caribbean and also in the eastern shores of America, North America, they would become more and more violent. In this video, I'll be talking about one such pirate gang which was headed by a ferocious captain called Edward Teach. So let me start off with a series of incidents, the first of which goes like this. There is a region in the southeastern part of United States, and presently it's a state in the United States called North Carolina. And there was a ship in the somewhere in the 18th century. There was a ship that was coming towards the coast of North Carolina. Initially, it looked like a normal merchant ship, but as it drew closer to a ship that was going to Boston, a region in the northeastern, a city in the northeastern part of United States at present. As it drew closer to that second ship, which was bound to Boston, the people have have started noticing a black flag, and on the black flag was a symbol of a skeleton drinking a toast, and also a symbol of heart that was bleeding. It was a sign that one should keep away from such ships. Most importantly, it was a pirate ship, not a merchant ship as it looked like. The name of the ship was Queen Queen Anne's Revenge. And on the deck of the ship there was this pirate. There was the captain of the pirate gang that I was talking about, Edward Teach. And this captain was giving warning signals to people that his that he had arrived and it was time to terrorize themselves. He was leaving out swear words. He was a, as I told you, he was a ferocious person because firstly let me describe him physically, and then I'll describe him mentally, and then I'll describe the events that the gang of pirate Edward Teach had gone through in the 18th century. So firstly, this pirate Edward Teach had a long black hair that was flowing through his shoulder, and he wore a, a kind of a coat which was colored in deep red, inclining towards purple, what is called as crimson. Not only that, he had two straps, leather straps that would go across his chest, and in these straps would be six small guns called pistols. And within his belt were two short swords, and these swords are called cutlasses. And most striking feature of this captain of pirates was his long beard, the black beard. It almost covered his face, and hence he was popularly known as Blackbeard. So from now on, I'll call Edward Teach as Blackbeard. So the members in the ship which was bound to Boston, which that these members observed this pirate swearing words from his deck of the ship, Queen Annie's Revenge, and they recognized the pirate. And one person from that Boston-bound ship had shouted, saying that it was Blackbeard, and he told everyone that if they wanted to live to see another day, it was important that the crew members surrender to the pirate ship. Such was the terror that filled the hearts of people about Blackbeard. Not only the people who were not so close to him, but also people who were his own crew members, the pirates, were also terrified by his appearance and his actions. Let me illustrate an incident that would give you an idea of what that meant. On one occasion, a Blackbeard would challenge his crew members, saying that he, along with the people who wanted to, could enter into a room which would be filled with a poisonous smoke made of sulfur. The challenge was who would outlast the other. And two members of the pirate gang volunteered to do it. They followed Blackbeard into a compartment of the ship. And within this compartment, Blackbeard and the two crews would lock themselves up, and Blackbeard would set a fire and burn the sulfur, the poisonous, and there would be poisonous gas in the room, in the enclosed room. After some moments, the other two crew members who volunteered would be gasping for breath, and also they begged Blackbeard to let in some air, and Blackbeard would not do so until the two crew members begged for him. And ultimately, they would get their air, they would choke first, and they would get their air and they would go out. Blackbeard would be the last person to come out of the compartment. And he would take pride in himself that he outlasted the rest of the people, and such was his character. Now let me come to the real events that these pirate gangs have carried out in the eastern shore of North America. Let me take you to 1717. In the spring of 1717, the ship of Blackbeard and his pirates was going up a river called Ashley River. It was a river which was across a town called Charleston, and Charleston was a part of a whole region called a region in the southeastern part of United States called South Carolina. And as this ship was moving up the Ashley River, the people of the town of Charleston was terrified. Of course, they knew about Blackbeard. For 1 week, the ship of Blackbeard and his pirates, the ship of Blackbeard would be anchored near the coast of Charleston, and the pirates would rob whichever ship came that way. They would capture the crew members as well. They would firstly stop the ship, rob it, and then capture the crew members. And one person who was captured was the town councillor of Charleston. A councillor is a person who is a member of the local government, the head of the local government in the town of Charleston, and they would arrest him. And Blackbeard had a demand for the hostages. There were 80 hostages who were captured in that 1 week after the ship or the pirates reached the coast of Charleston. Blackbeard demanded that the hostages would be released only if they would get a certain medicine chest that would be of use to the pirates of Blackbeard. This message had to be conveyed to the other two counselors of the town Charleston, and for this, one of the hostages accompanied a few pirates onto the shore of Charleston. They would go on a boat, and once they reached the shore, the pirates would feel as if they were having a day off. They were drunk, and they would be enjoying to really tell the message that the Blackbeard had to send. Ultimately, a deadline was set before which the medicine chest had to be delivered, and on the day of the deadline, the people of the town of Charleston were once again, completely terrified. They thought of the dire consequences if the chest would not be delivered to the pirate ship. They thought that the pirates would run amok the town, would create a havoc in the town. But luckily, to their relief, nothing of such happened. The medicine chest was delivered much before the time, and ultimately the hostages were released by Blackbeard, and Blackbeard, along with his pirates in the ship, would go north of Charleston now, and he had other plans. Now, Blackbeard was in a region in the southeastern part of United States, another region called North Carolina. There he had struck a deal with the governor of the region that if the governor would turn a blind eye to the illegal activities of the pirates, the, the governor would get a share of the loot of the pirates. The governor agreed to this deal, unfortunately, and what it meant was that Blackbeard could stop any ship he wanted at the coast of Carolina, North Carolina, and he could do anything with that ship, and he did not fear getting caught. That was the most important part. If the governor had struck this deal, the merchants and the planters of the region of North Carolina were fed up with the gang of Blackbeard, and they invited and told the army that they should capture Blackbeard dead or alive. And according to this line of thought, on 1718, in the morning of 1718, two naval ships went towards the sailed towards the ship of Blackbeard, which was anchored at the coast of North Carolina. The Blackbeard himself had a lot of spies, and he knew that there was a possibility of attack onto his ship. And when he saw the ships, he had fired a warning signal, a warning shot, and to tell them that to keep away from the ship of Blackbeard. In in one of the naval ships was the commander of navy called Lieutenant Maynard, and he told his crew members to sail towards the ship of Blackbeard and get close to it. There were gunshots that were fired by the pirate ship onto the navy ship that was getting closer and closer towards the pirate ship, and this led to casualties. This led to around I think around 30 members to be injured and dead ultimately in the naval ship. And seeing this, the Lieutenant Maynard had told rest of the crew members to get underneath the deck of the ship. A Blackbeard was surprised to see that when the crew members entered underneath the deck, there were only two members on the deck of the naval ship, and it came as a surprise, and he thought it was a great opportunity for his pirates to enter the ship and kill the crew members. And accordingly, he instructed his pirates to enter the ship and kill them. But even before that, some small bombs were thrown onto the deck of the naval ship, and after that, the pirates swarmed into the naval ship, and right at that time, the Lieutenant Maynard asked his crew members who were underneath the deck to enter the deck. He told them, "All hands on the deck." And once the crew members, the brave crew members they were, came onto the deck, there was a fierce fighting between the pirates and the navy. Ultimately, when the smoke of the grenades cleared, it was Blackbeard and Lieutenant Maynard who were face to face with each other, and a battle was set between them. Blackbeard was drunk, he had rum and his target, and he was not able to hit his target with the pistol he had. So he took out his cutlass, the short sword that he had that I described about, and Maynard had also taken out his own sword to defend himself. But Blackbeard had given a heavy blow onto the sword of Maynard, and it broke the sword of Maynard into two. And Maynard was suddenly defenseless for a moment. And when he was clumsily holding his pistol, Blackbeard was in a position to strike on the head of the lieutenant. But just in the nick of time, a crew member of the naval ship had slit the throat of Blackbeard, and Maynard saw this as an opportunity to kill Blackbeard, and accordingly he cocked his pistol and shot Blackbeard, and Blackbeard had fallen on the deck, still dead. So these were the incidents of the Pirates of Caribbean, the real incidents that happened. And these incidents were that I have described about were a part of the eastern shores of North America in South Carolina, North Carolina, and I hope you found this real life incidents of the Pirates of the Caribbean interesting and got an idea or insight into how the pirates of that time conducted their business, and how the people were terrified with these pirates, and how the people had to respond to ultimately cause the destruction of the pirate gang, or the destruction of the head of the pirate gang, the fearsome Blackbeard or Edward Teach. Thank you.